Welcome to day 54. And I'm feeling really relaxed. I'm feeling really calm, at ease, and chilled out really. But I didn't feel this earlier on today because I was working in a place that was quite a public place and there was a lot of different people. And as I was coming into contact with these people, I sensed different feelings in my body. And by feelings in my body, it was like different sensations. So it was like trying to describe how it felt for me. I'd sort of feel like a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling in my stomach, or I would feel a pull as if I'm being pulled towards that person, or I would get a smile from that person which would sort of invite me into their energy. And at the same time I would get a little bit of a sick feeling, a little bit of anxiety and worry feeling. So it was like an uncomfortableness in my stomach, as if something, like sometimes when you eat the wrong food it feels a little bit uncomfortable in your stomach, that sort of a feeling. And I was getting this with different people, and with each person I met, it was a different sort of a feeling. And I don't know if you've ever found this, that when you have come across somebody or you've been in conversation with someone, that you leave that person feeling a little bit unsettled in some way, but you can't quite put your finger on why. And your brain starts to question what this feeling is in your body. And sometimes it's when we come across other people, and we've all got sort of physical bodies, but around our body we've also got like an energy body. And as we come into contact with other people, we make contact with their energy bodies. And as we're sort of making contact with their energy bodies without realizing, our bodies are picking up what is happening in that other person's energy body. So really, when you're coming into contact with people, you have different sensations and different feelings. And these feelings are not necessarily your own, because what can happen is you can come into contact with someone and you can walk away from that person with that uncomfortable feeling inside of you, or even the opposite. It can be like an exhilarating feeling or an uplifted feeling. It's really hard to pinpoint how that feels like in the body, but I can only explain it by a feeling of butterflies, a feeling of upliftment, a feeling of heaviness, a feeling of lightness. That's the way it feels for me in my body. And sometimes we mistakenly think this is us, this is our feelings, there is something wrong with us, there is something not quite right, and we start to judge ourselves. We start thinking, this is my fault, there's something to do with me, something's not right about me. But this is not the case. It's often that you have come into contact with somebody else's energy field and you have picked up, so you've sensed something through your senses, through your body, about where that person is. And it's not our responsibility to rescue that person and to make that person feel better in a way. And I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. It's not our responsibility, because everyone is, I believe, on their own journey. So everyone has got a lesson to learn in their journey. And I was listening to Kyle Cease this morning on video, and he said, well, it's not our responsibility to change somebody else's path. So when you are trying to make someone do something you want them to do, trying to control them or trying to manipulate them into being the way that you want them to be, that is not your path, because who are you to say that is not what they need to learn at this point in time? Because by doing that, you're rescuing, and by rescuing someone, I mean when somebody is in pain, or when someone is in crying, or when someone is in a sense of overwhelming fear or worry or whatever uncomfortable feeling they're going through, perhaps they're depressed or whatever they are. It's not our duty to go and say, right, come on, this is what you need to do, because we are not them. We are not on their path. They have got certain things that they are learning about their life, and if we go in and tell them what to do, or perhaps start to say you need to be doing this, or start to give them advice, or when they're crying, sometimes putting your arms around them, and this might seem a bit counterproductive, but putting your arms around them is stopping them from feeling their own pain and their own tears. And I'm not saying it's wrong to put your arms around someone. What I'm saying is it can be really disempowering to do that, because when you hold space for somebody, and that means when I mean hold space, it means just be in that space for someone. So just be open, be listening, be just maybe repeating what they say back to them. That gives someone the strength to solve their own problems, if whatever it may be. So it's not about jumping in saying you need to do this, because when we start to do that, it sends a message of you're not hearing me, this is what I'm going through. And often that person just needs to feel heard and needs to feel listened to, and they need to talk it out. They need to tell you about what's happening with them, because all they are doing is they are processing the energy, they are processing the feelings out of their body. A little bit like when a child starts to cry, all it's doing is just taking the energy that just feels uncomfortable and processing it out through its body. And by trying to give advice, it takes away that empowerment. So day 53 or 54, so give someone their empowerment.